with this prototype, we wanted to, I'm just going to dive right in, guys. I know I don't want to keep you waiting impatiently if you're wanting to know what the hell is going on here, because it's insane. I wanted to run my effects loop, meaning delay, reverb, and chorus, stereo as well as in parallel. And Goodwood Audio makes this 4-way buffered split, which allows me to come out of that into the effects pedals I want, then into the stereo line mixer, which allows me to then mix it all down into a left-right channel to bring it back into the end game effects loop. Okay, so I can turn all that off by simply just hitting the effects loop. And by the way, I'm recording off of a Zoom Q2N 4K little tiny camera deal. The microphone on it I think is pretty good. That's what I'm going to capture the room with. So I would say it's quite similar to an iPhone or Android phone if you're recording it that way. To give you the in-the-room sound. I have 3 amplifiers right now. In the left I have a 2-Rock TS1. In the right I have a Steel String Sultan by Amplified Nation. And coming out of the stereo line mixer dry out, I have a Friedman Mini Dirty Shirley combo. So quite an array of amplifiers. And in the room sounds really big. So I don't know if that's going to come across in the recording, but it's absolutely breathtaking in this room. Aside from the humming hiss noise or whatever I've got, sorry, tube amps kind of breathing a little bit in here. So, but once you start playing, that all kind of just goes away. Neck pickup of the HSS volume at 7, running through the 29 UNA buffer type pedal. I got everything off because I'm hearing the tube amps right now. Because in the room, I don't need the UNA through my tube amps, right? My amplifiers are giving me the nuance and articulation that I really want out of the playing and what you want to hear. And so this was put on the board, this was put on the board, so the buffer, the EQ, and the compressor were technically put on the board so that I can get this to sound even more like a real amplifier, or shall I say feel like an amplifier, because I believe they do a great job of sounding like real amplifiers, like the Quad Cortex, the Iridium, and all that. But it's a feel thing that is hard to explain, and a lot of people don't understand, and everybody just wants to combat you on that. You got your digital warriors and you got your analog warriors. I'm in both realms. I enjoy tube amplifiers, and I enjoy playing around with these devices. If I had my pick, and I had a road crew, it would be all analog, all tube, all day long, right? But we don't all have that luxury, and I play small venues like the Eagles, the American Legion. So technically, if anything, I'll take a small tube amplifier and probably the aux so I could run direct, because my other buddy is all digital, and he likes to run through a PA. So getting back to the board, sorry. Of course, tuners at the helm here. That I believe I got the tuner after the after the buffer, because I've got a fuzz, and you got to have that fuzz out front without anything in front of it, and that way it's going to do what you want it to do. So by clicking the buffer pedal, that disengages the buffer and turns on the fuzz. Okay, so right now we're at 7. Volume cranked, neck pickup. Now if you want to attenuate that a little bit, you can click on the Blues Deluxe. 7. So by using the Blues Deluxe, I can treat this kind of as an attenuator. It does a really fantastic job of keeping that signal, the sound you want from your amplifiers, just kind of turned down. It's kind of a trick I learned from a couple of YouTube channels I followed years back. Now this is I think the latest incarnation that they've done, and it's got a boost on it, which you could always use for a solo kick on or whatever. Kind of nice. But same thing. I got another board with a Blues Deluxe on it as well, and it's the hidden pedal under, basically, that I'll use for an attenuation into a tube amp. So moving forward, you know, we'll turn the buffer pedal back on, really, but I've got the harmonics, the bright, and the low all off on the down position because I'm playing to the tube amps. So in loop 1, there is a compressor, right? So here, let's try this. Volume's at 7. So I don't have it set real heavy. Love that. It's bouncing back and forth. The delays are, along with the reverbs, just kind of echoing. And here, let's turn the chorus on. Really just gets big. Love that. Okay, so the first one is the compressor, loop 1. Loop 2 is the para EQ. So here's let's play it. I got that really flat right now. I'm still learning this pedal, but I know for a fact, because I've messed around a little bit in all the prototyping stages, this is going to really fine-tune and enable me to get whatever I need out of this for any situation. And again, this has a boost on it as well, allowing for a lead kick on or whatever. So if we want to keep the same sound, just louder, you know, I'll have a couple of options there for that. And then, of course, 3 is the Blues Deluxe, we've already heard. I could dial in more low and get it exactly sounding like the others, but need to move on here. Usually I'll just keep these 2 on all the time. What I found is with the tube amps, I don't really need this because I got the tube amps sounding kind of where I like it. But in a pinch, whatever, nice tool to have. Loop 4 is the Maliconia. And yeah, we're adding lo-fi into a hi-fi. I joke about this because I've got the chorus and the delays and reverbs in a hi-fi type of state here that it's really ironic or weird that you would add a lo-fi, but it just sounds gorgeous when you play the two together. Here, let's do this. We'll turn on the chorus. There's a clean tone, right? Here's some lo-fi editing. Oops. It gives it a real tape type of sound that is real reminiscent of all the analog gears and everything. This pedal will put you in a different state altogether, and you can make it get insane and do some weird stuff if you want. But I like just a taste of that tape, like back in the '90s when we were playing basketball in the driveway, and I'd grab my Beastie Boys tape or whatever and put it in my tape player, and you hit play, and there's that little weird warble sounds that's happening, and then throughout all of the playing, if the playback heads or whatever slow down, speed up, you hear this little imperfections that I can't say enough about this pedal. It's beautiful. And then loop 5, I have the utility knife, which Canadian company, really cool pedal. It's got a flanger, chorus, tremolo, and phaser. I mean, if you really want to get crazy with chorus, let's hear this thing. All right, we'll put on the Supro chorus. And if you want to get nuts with chorus, so you can get into the 80s stuff if you wanted to, big time with this. And I'm trying to set the unity on this thing, the tremolo, the unity volume needs to get turned up a little bit. But so here's the tremolo from the utility knife, and this is kind of like I think an amp tremolo. You see, I got to turn the volume up on it a little bit to get unity. I like to turn the pedal off on the looper before I change it, because when you're switching to the different flanger, chorus, tremolo, phaser, whatever, you'll get a pop or whatever. So let's turn this back on, and we'll go to flanger. And this thing will get the jet engines with some distortion added to it. Really, I mean, I can't say enough. If you want to have a modulation pedal that gives you a few good, and I mean really good sounds, this thing has it. So here's the phaser, right? Well, here. Clean tone. Let's add the phaser. So that's the utility knife. And in loop 6, I have the Harmonious Monk by Jam Pedals. And this, I've got it set to, of course, the harmonic tremolo. And kind of the way on that pedal show how Mick runs his. That just seems to work for me as well. So here's clean. lost in that. And then after the loops, the gig rig loop switcher, I go into the micro vent, which is a rotary type speaker sound. Of the best that I've ever heard, guys. That company does a fantastic job of rotary speaker sounds, and I think, like I've read a lot and seen videos a lot, that really, if you want to get get the rotary speaker type sound, you gotta play it in stereo, which is what this is set up with right now. And then, of course, after the micro vent, I will end up on the side of the pedal board for an audition loop to add any other pedals if need be or want. And then, so coming back in, after the audition loop, we then hit the press. And that, we will be going in the 1/8 inch jack, so this would be the external side chain of the press. And then through the press, well, this is a compressor pedal, and I kind of wanted the ability to control the effects loops in stereo, and this poly end is a stereo compressor. I wasn't going to use the side chain, and I kind of had a harebrained idea that I could run my dry effects through the side chain, the wet effects through the actual compressor part, and then I can use this EQ here with the side chain to fine-tune, again, just a little bit more of that dry signal, and then also be able to control and fine-tune the effects loop with levels, mix, and get even more sustain if need or want. Really, that has been a real fun find for me, for sure. And I got that from Mike Herman's. He did a review on that, and then I bought that from him after he did his review. Apparently he wasn't going to build a complex board like this. Either way, loving it. It's a great tool. And there's a lot of tools on this board, more so than there are fun pedals, but I wanted it for sculpting. So in there and out of the 1/8 inch, we go to, where are we going from there? Bear with me. Alright, so that's it. Out of there, we run into the Ethos Deluxe Clean Fusion, because this, I wanted to treat this like an amplifier that it is, and of course be able to either turn it on or off, which you see right now everything is off, and the compressor is yeah. You can really fine-tune that you know, it's not a lot, but it's just a very fine tuning of your sound there with the low pass and the high pass filters. All right, then out of the Clean Fusion, it goes into the KMA Endgame, right? And then out of the Endgame, that's where I send a signal to the four-way buffered split to get audio to the effects loop, right? And then from the four-way splitter, I go to all the effects, from those effects in stereo. I go into the stereo line mixer. And again, I have the third amplifier in the room right now, which is the Friedman Dirty Shirley Mini Combo, hooked up to the dry out. And listen to this. Because there's a lot going on, right? There's 3 amplifiers in the room, so you can kill that and go just stereo mix. So you're going to have your stereo mix, which has the dries into it, so it's not like a wet, dry, wet. I can kill all the dry in the effects loop if I want, and keep the dry out of here, so I could go wet, dry, wet if I wanted to. And this is merely just a mix for the let's see, chorus, delay, and reverb. All right, and so in a nutshell, that is the board. Okay, that's it. Ethos has another pedal coming out with a Ethernet type cable. Ethos Ethernet, go figure. The mid and the bright only works on the right side. Again, we'll get into this in a little bit, but that's the board in a nutshell. Okay, so we'll stop here. I'm going to turn the tube amplifiers off, and then we will go direct recording now. Okay, so what you're hearing now is all the here. So nothing is on, absolutely nothing. Here's the preamp. And this is through the dumbbell side. Still missing a little bit. So let's give it a power amp. Now let's give our fake amplifier some speakers. I downloaded my own IR. I bought the Celestion G whatever 2-rock and steel string puts in their amplifiers. I can't remember. It's a Celestion type speaker. Volume's at 7 on the neck position here. We can change the sound with the power section. I believe these are KT88s. There's nothing. There's EL34. L6. Let's put the speaker on greenback. Here's creamback. And there's just like a Fender type speaker, I think. Now, because I'm running through my emulator, my amp emulator, I'm going to turn the harmonics up, and I think I liked a little more low, and I'll keep the bright down for now. Let's see. Like that. And again, with this I can fine tune like the presence. I can fine tune the bottom end. Right now I got that all on flat or whatever. mids. Get a little brighter. Again, certain situations EQ'd differently, that can be all played with. Again, this board is purely for sculpting, and I wanted to be able to not have to use an amplifier, or be able to not only use an amplifier but go wet, dry, wet, or stereo, or just stereo with a dry added to the mix. Just be able to have all these options to sculpt a tone. And you know, the idea with having everything in parallel was key, so that I could hear my delays, hear my reverbs, hear the chorus as if they were on their own in a mix. So I really enjoy that. Again, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell the difference here, but I'm going to kick on the fuzz here. I've already gone through the pedals with the amplifier, so hopefully you're still with me on the video. Let's crank this on, and volume's at 7, neck pickup. I got to turn the level of the fuzz up a little more than I like. To really get close or match. Really what I like is being able to kick on a fuzz and the tone doesn't change as far as like the way I play, because what I would end up doing is rolling my volume down a little bit, which is kind of where I normally like to keep my levels when I'm playing live, and then I'll kick on a fuzz. If you're really paying attention, you'll hear it, but in the middle of a rock band, you know, everybody playing, screaming, singing, you might not hear that so much. Or just get the levels perfect. And hearing that germanium transistor on clean with the level on the guitar back a little bit, really, you get this really high definition clarity thing coming in. Which, you know, Jimi Hendrix was known for using a fuzz face style circuit in that way. Alright, so now with the fuzz on and the levels at 7, unity gain, from here I can turn the level up on the guitar and we'll go into distortion, right? Level down to about 9. Level down to 8. And now level at 7. And then fuzz is off, and we're back into our regular playing. And the level all the way up on the guitar. And the only breakup you're actually going to get is what you're hearing coming from the amplifier. So that's my theory on trying to use a fuzz and get those sounds. Again, like we did with the amplifiers, I can kick on the Blues Deluxe and treat that like an attenuator. Down back to 7. Everything's off. We're back to clean tone. compressor, EQ, Blues Deluxe, bad chord. But anyways, you get the point. And again, Melaconia, you know. Really a beautiful sound. Let's go to the Fender side. Well, hey, there you have it. That pedal board in a nutshell. Again, another nutshell, right? And so this output is really only used for the tube amps. You know, that way I could either check the ground if we've got something, or reverse the polarity between the two. And then with the dry out, I could either kick it off or on, utilizing that. So this pedal board really is all about sculpting not only your dry tone and the sounds you want, but also getting the effects loop, your delays, reverbs, choruses, and all of that sounding perfect, right? To get that perfect sound. And so really, I think this board is going to have more to offer than I could imagine. Simply, you know, being able to use the tube amplifiers with such really high-end pedals, it sounds glorious through these amplifiers in the room. And yeah, do I prefer the sound of the tube amplifiers over the ethos? Yes. Can I be inspired to play just as much with the ethos as the tube amplifiers? Yes. This really is a lot of fun to play through. I can get inspired to play with the feel factor, and the feel factor being able to sculpt, right, to get that in your head sound with turning some knobs and switches. And Custom Tones does a great job of allowing you to fine tune this thing. I really did not expect to like this that much. I thought the pedal's so tiny. How could you actually put really good sounds in something so tiny? And I was thoroughly blown away. I actually was in the market for the Juggler by Kingsley Pedals, and I got the call from Simon that my pedal was ready. It only took a year. And but by then, I just didn't feel like waiting for the Juggler, because that's what I was going to do, this board with the Juggler. But after getting this and really enjoying the tones out of this whole thing, and okay, not only do you got a Dumble side, but you also got the HRM, and this has a Fender clean channel. So, you know, all in all, this is more of a Swiss Army than the juggler. And I think to get all of the dry tones, distortions you want, because really, I have a fuzz pedal, yes. A lot of people don't like the fuzz, but if you play it just right, set it up just right, you know, say play the fuzz into the Blues Deluxe, you can get some massive distortion into the Fender Clean with that setup. Now that being said, I don't need a lot of overdrive sounds, because on the overdrive side of the Clean Fusion, the Dumble-ish style and the HRM, I can get massive amounts of distortion from that alone. And being a preamp pedal, you know, you treat it like an amplifier. You turn your gains up and everything, watch your clipping, and you can get all the glorious lead tones you want through that. That being said, of course, again, I didn't want like a distortion pedal. I just wanted an overdrive pedal. And then I just always love a fuzz pedal. I love the cleanup of the germanium, and honestly was having a rough time with this pedal, trying to figure it out. But really, cranking that volume on the thing was key for me. I didn't mess with the bias. That's how they gate. Well, I guess it was up a little bit. Anyways, that in the middle, that's the factory position. So let's hear what that. Sorry guys, I'm playing on my knee here. So, there it is. I know I've said it a couple of times, sorry, I'm not going to keep you anymore, but here's the prototype stage. I will try to edit this video so it's not super long. I'm going to do a series here, so we're going to go, I wanted you to see the prototype stage. This has been months in the making of pure hell, if you will. And so the next video you're going to see, I'll be putting these pedals on the Schmidt Array board that I have picked out. This took a while to come in, but I finally got it. So this is the pedal board that we'll be going on. It's a Schmidt Array. I went with a low cost as I could on the Schmidt Array line. All black, no cover, no lid, and just no Velcro, because I like dual lock. And so, bid me good luck. Next video will be on the bench. Alright guys, thank you.